Hey friends, in the quiet hours of the night, when the world's noise finally fades and the mind is left alone with its own wandering thoughts, many of us find ourselves wrestling with unseen burdens. The heart aches with memories of loss, the mind loops through regrets and what-ifs, and anxiety creeps in, whispering fears of the uncertain future. In these moments, we long for peace, for a gentle hand to guide us out of the shadows and into the sanctuary of calm. It is here, at the crossroads of suffering and hope, that the ancient wisdom of the Buddha beckons us to listen, to breathe, and to awaken to a new way of being. Imagine a humble village nestled in the lush valleys of ancient India, where the air is thick with the scent of jasmine and the gentle hum of cicadas. In this village lived a young man named Ananda, whose days were filled with toil and whose nights were haunted by restlessness. Ananda, like so many of us, sought happiness in the fleeting pleasures of the world, wealth, praise, and the approval of others. Yet, with every achievement, he felt an emptiness growing inside, a silent longing for something deeper, more enduring. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon and painted the sky in hues of gold and crimson, Ananda wandered to the edge of the forest. There he encountered an old monk, seated beneath the sprawling branches of a banyan tree, his eyes closed in serene meditation. The monk's presence radiated a quiet strength, an unshakable peace that seemed to draw the very birds and animals closer. Ananda, compelled by a force he could not name, approached and sat beside the monk, hoping to find answers to the questions that had plagued him for so long. The monk opened his eyes and greeted Ananda with a gentle smile. "Why do you look so troubled, young one?" he asked, his voice as soft as the evening breeze. Ananda poured out his heart, speaking of his endless striving, his disappointments, and his fear that true happiness would always elude him. The monk listened with deep compassion, nodding as if he understood every nuance of Ananda's pain. "My son," the monk began, "the suffering you feel is not unique to you. It is the suffering of all beings, born from the illusions of the mind. We chase after pleasure and run from pain, forgetting that both are but passing clouds in the vast sky of awareness. The Buddha taught that the root of suffering is attachment, our clinging to what is pleasant and our aversion to what is unpleasant. But there is a way out, a path that leads to the end of suffering and the discovery of true peace." Ananda leaned in, his curiosity awakened. "What is this path, Venerable One? How can I find peace in a world so full of turmoil?" The monk's eyes sparkled with kindness. "The path is the Noble Eightfold Path, a way of living that brings the mind into harmony with the truth. It is not a path of blind faith, but of direct experience, of seeing things as they truly are. It begins with right view, the understanding that all things are impermanent, that suffering arises from craving, and that liberation is possible for all who seek it." As the monk spoke, Ananda felt a gentle warmth spreading through his chest, as if a hidden door had opened within him. The monk continued, "To walk this path, you must cultivate right intention. Let go of ill will and embrace thoughts of kindness and compassion. Speak with right speech, words that heal and uplift rather than harm. Act with right action, choosing deeds that bring benefit to yourself and others. Live with right livelihood, earning your way in the world without causing harm." The old monk's voice was like a soothing stream, washing away the dust of Ananda's worries. Practice right effort, training your mind to abandon unwholesome states and cultivate wholesome ones. Develop right mindfulness, being fully present in each moment, aware of your thoughts, feelings, and sensations without judgment.
And finally, deepen your practice with right concentration, focusing the mind in meditation until it becomes as clear and still as a mountain lake. Ananda listened, enraptured by the simplicity and profundity of the teachings. The monk invited him to close his eyes and follow the breath, to feel the rise and fall of the chest, the cool air entering the nostrils and the warmth as it left. Let your thoughts come.
ASMR. Part 2. The human heart is a fragile thing. It clings to what it loves, a cherished relationship, a stable career, the comfort of routine, only to be shattered when change inevitably arrives. We build walls around our lives, hoping to keep loss at bay, but life, like a river, carves its own path. In the bustling city of Savatthi, a wealthy merchant named Sudana learned this truth in the most painful of ways. His story, passed down through centuries, reminds us that the Buddhist teachings on impermanence are not abstract philosophies, but lifelines for the drowning soul. Sudana had spent decades amassing riches, his warehouses overflowing with silks, spices, and gold. He prided himself on his shrewdness, believing his wealth would shield him from suffering. But one fateful monsoon season, floodwaters swallowed his entire fortune. Overnight, Sudana lost everything: his property, his status, even the respect of his peers. Broken and desperate, he wandered the streets like a ghost, his mind trapped in a storm of anger and despair. One morning, as Sudana sat beneath a withered tree, a group of monks walked past, their saffron robes glowing in the dawnlight. One monk paused, sensing Sudana's anguish. "Friend," he said softly, "the Buddha teaches that all conditioned things are impermanent. When we build our happiness on sand, the tides of time will wash it away. But there is a refuge that no flood can touch." Intrigued, Sudana followed the monks to Jetavana Monastery, where the Buddha was teaching a crowd of villagers. The enlightened one's voice carried a timeless resonance as he spoke. "Anicca vata sankhara. All formations are impermanent. Birth is suffering. Aging is suffering. Death is suffering. Separation from the loved is suffering. Yet there is an end to suffering, a truth beyond the reach of change." Sudana's heart pounded as the Buddha's words pierced his grief. "We suffer not because life changes," the Buddha continued, "but because we demand that it remain the same. The flower blooms, the flower withers. This is the nature of existence. To find peace, we must see clearly. Nothing lasts, nothing is ours to keep. In this insight, we discover freedom." The Buddha then shared the parable of the mustard seed. A woman named Kisa Gautami, mad with grief after losing her infant son, begged the Buddha to revive her child. "Bring me a mustard seed from a home untouched by death," he told her. Kisa Gautami went door to door, only to realize that every family had known loss. She returned to the Buddha, her eyes opened to the universality of suffering. "You are not alone," he said gently. "Death comes for all. Let this truth deepen your compassion, not your despair." Sudana wept as he listened. For the first time, he saw his own story reflected in the tears of others. The Buddha turned to him and asked, "What is heavier, the weight of your lost gold or the weight of your attachment to it?" Sudana hesitated, then bowed his head. "Venerable One, my suffering comes not from the loss, but from my refusal to let go." The Buddha smiled. "A farmer clings to last season's harvest, starving while sitting on a mountain of rotten grain. Let go, Sudana, and you will find that true wealth lies not in possessions, but in the mind unshaken by life's storms. This is the heart of Anicca, the truth of impermanence." The Buddha did not deny life's beauty or its pain, but invited us to meet both with equanimity. Each morning, as the sun rises, Practice this teaching. Gaze at a flower, a cloud, or a loved one's face, and whisper, "This too will change." Feel the grip of attachment loosen. For those struggling with loss, the Buddha offered a meditation on the elements: earth, water, fire, air. These compose the body. Where in this flux is there a self to cling to? Sit quietly and observe the breath. Notice how each inhalation arises and fades, how sensations shift and dissolve. In this watching, you become the calm sky, not the passing clouds. Chanting, too, can anchor the restless mind. Try this verse from the Dhammapada. All conditioned things are impermanent. When one sees this with wisdom, one turns away from suffering. ASMR Part 3. Anger is a fire that burns the one who carries it. It begins as a spark, a harsh word, a betrayal, a lingering injustice, and grows into a blaze that consumes our peace, our relationships, and even our health. In the kingdom of Magadha, a king named Ajatasattu learned this truth too late. His story, a haunting mirror for all who harbor resentment, reveals how the Buddha's teachings on loving-kindness can extinguish even the fiercest flames of hatred. Ajatasattu had once been a beloved prince, but ambition twisted his heart. Poisoned by the whispers of a deceitful minister, he imprisoned his father, King Bimbisara, and seized the throne. Yet power brought no joy. Each night, Ajatasattu paced his palace, tormented by guilt and paranoia. His sleep vanished, his body grew frail, and his mind became a battlefield of rage and regret. Desperate, he ordered his servants to summon healers, but no medicine could cure his sickness of the soul. One moonless night, as Ajatasattu stared into the darkness, a courtier whispered, "There is a teacher called the Buddha who heals not the body but the mind." Driven by despair, the king mounted his chariot and rode to Bamboo Grove Monastery, where the Buddha sat surrounded by disciples. Ajatasattu approached, his voice trembling. "Venerable one, I have done terrible things. My heart is a nest of vipers. Can even someone like me find peace?" The Buddha's gaze held neither judgment nor pity, only boundless compassion. "No one is beyond redemption, great king. The path to peace begins with a single step, the cultivation of metta, loving-kindness for all beings." He then shared the story of a bandit named Angulimala, who had once terrorized the land, wearing a gruesome necklace of fingers. When Angulimala tried to kill the Buddha, the enlightened one responded with metta, saying, "I stop, brother. When will you stop?" Stunned by this unconditional love, Angulimala dropped his sword, became a monk, and attained liberation. "Hatred cannot cease through hatred," the Buddha said. "Only through love does hatred end. This is an eternal law." Ajatasattu wept. "But how can I love others when I despise myself?" The Buddha replied, "Begin with yourself. A lamp cannot light another lamp unless its own flame is burning. Sit each dawn and repeat these words: May I be free from enmity. May I be free from suffering. May I be happy. May I be at ease." When these words seep into your heart, extend them to others, first to those you love, then to strangers, and finally to those who have wronged you. To illustrate, the Buddha taught the Karaniya Metta Sutta, the Buddha's discourse on universal love. As a mother risks her life to protect her child, so toward all beings cultivate a boundless heart. Let your love flow freely, without limit, unhindered by resentment or fear. Ajatasattu returned to his palace and practiced metta daily. At first, his mind rebelled. Memories of his father's face, the coldness of the prison cell, the weight of his crown.
But slowly, like sunlight melting frost, the meditation softened his heart. One morning, as he chanted, "May all beings be happy," he realized the all included his father. For the first time in years, he wept not for himself, but for the pain he had caused. This is the alchemy of metta. It transforms poison into medicine. The Buddha taught that anger is like picking up hot coals to throw at others. You burn first. But when we meet anger with love, we break the cycle. For those struggling with resentment, try this practice tonight. Sit comfortably, close your eyes, and place a hand over your heart. Whisper softly, "May I be safe. May I be peaceful. May I be kind to myself." Visualize a person you love, repeating, "May you be safe. May you be peaceful." Finally, bring to mind someone who has hurt you. With courage, whisper, "May you be free from suffering." At first, this may feel impossible. Anger will rise like a wave. Observe it, but do not drown in it. With time, the wave will recede, leaving behind the calm shore of your true nature. Ajatasattu.
ASMR. Part 4. Grief is a labyrinth. We wander its corridors, clutching memories like fragile maps, only to find ourselves lost in the same aching questions. Why did this happen? Could I have stopped it? How do I go on? In the ancient city of Savatthi, a woman named Patakara faced these questions with a rawness few could fathom. Her story, etched into Buddhist lore, reveals how the Buddha's teachings on karma and impermanence can guide even the most shattered heart toward healing. Patakara was born to wealth, her life a tapestry of comfort and privilege. But fate, indifferent to status, wove a darker thread. Defying her family, she eloped with a servant, only to lose him to a snakebite during a storm. Alone and pregnant, she gave birth in the wilderness, but a flood swept her newborn away. Desperate, she returned home, only to find her parents and brother dead. Their house collapsed in the same tempest. Madness consumed her. She roamed the streets, naked and wailing, tearing at her hair, until she stumbled into Jetavana Monastery where the Buddha taught. The crowd recoiled, but the Buddha stepped forward. "Sister," he said, his voice a balm, "regain your mindfulness." At these words, clarity pierced Patakara's torment. A bystander threw her a cloak, and she collapsed at the Buddha's feet, sobbing out her tale. "The tears you've shed in lifetimes past," the Buddha replied, "surpass the waters of the oceans. All beings lose what they love. But in this truth lies liberation. Nothing is yours to keep." He recited a verse from the Dhammapada. "From endearment springs grief. From endearment springs fear. For one freed from endearment, there is no grief. How then fear?" Patakara's trembling stilled. The Buddha continued, "Karma is not punishment, but consequence. Your suffering arises not from past wrongs, but from clinging to what cannot last. Release the burden of mine, and you will find the courage to begin anew." He taught her the 5 reflections on impermanence. I am subject to aging. I am subject to illness. I am subject to death. All that is dear to me will change and vanish. I am the owner of my karma, heir to my karma. Meditate on these truths, the Buddha urged. Let them steady your mind like roots steady a tree in a storm. Patakara joined the Sangha, becoming a nun. At first, grief resurged in waves, a child's laugh in the market, the scent of rain. But she persevered, washing her feet daily, watching water trickle into the earth,
contemplating, "As this stream flows and fades, so do all things." One night, extinguishing a lamp, she whispered, "Like this flame, let my sorrows dissolve into nothingness." In that moment, she attained enlightenment. The Buddha later declared Patakara the foremost keeper of the Vinaya among nuns, a master of monastic discipline. Women flocked to her, their own hearts heavy with loss. To them, she taught, "Grief is not a flaw, but a teacher. Sit with it, breathe with it, and ask, what is truly mine? When you release the illusion of control, you'll find peace, not in life's calm, but in its storms." A practice for transforming grief. Light a candle and recite, "All that arises will cease. May I meet this truth with courage." Write a letter to your loss, then burn it, visualizing attachments dissolving like smoke. Chant the Metta Sutta, dedicating love to yourself and the one you mourn. Patakara's legacy endures. In Nepal, films and novels immortalize her journey. Yet her greatest testament lies in the thousands who, like her, have turned agony into awakening. Dear listeners, if grief has ever left you breathless, let Patakara's story be your lantern. The Buddha's path does not erase pain, but alchemizes it into wisdom. If this teaching resonates, please support our Motivational Buddha Story channel by ASMR. Part 5. Distraction is the silent thief of our lives. It steals our attention, scattering it across 1,000 trivialities, leaving us restless and unfulfilled. In the age of ceaseless notifications and endless to-do lists, it is easy to forget the simple miracle of being present. Yet, centuries ago, in the ancient city of Rajagaha, a young prince named Sivali faced this very struggle, not with smartphones, but with the unrelenting noise of his own mind. Prince Sivali was born into privilege, his days filled with lessons, games, and the adoration of his royal family. Yet he found no peace. His mind darted from one thought to the next, never settling, always seeking something more. He excelled at everything, yet his heart was never at rest. Even in the palace gardens, surrounded by beauty, his gaze drifted to distant worries and future ambitions. One afternoon, as the sun cast golden rays across the lotus ponds, Sivali's tutor noticed the prince's agitation. "Your Highness," the old sage said, "why do you frown when all around you is so lovely?" Sivali sighed. "My mind is like a monkey, leaping from branch to branch. I cannot enjoy anything for long. How can I find peace?" The tutor smiled gently. "There is a teacher in this land who is called the Buddha. He teaches a way to still the mind and discover joy in the present moment. Would you like to meet him?" Sivali nodded, curiosity sparking in his eyes. The next morning, Sivali and his tutor walked to the bamboo grove where the Buddha was teaching. The air was cool and fragrant, the leaves whispering in the breeze. The Buddha sat in serene silence, his presence calming even the most restless hearts. When Sivali approached, the Buddha greeted him with kindness. "What brings you here, young prince?" Sivali bowed. "Venerable one, I am tormented by my own thoughts. How can I quiet my mind and find happiness?" The Buddha's eyes shone with understanding. The mind, like a wild horse, must be gently trained. Peace is not found by chasing after pleasures or running from discomfort, but by returning, again and again, to the present moment. He invited Sivali to join him and his disciples in a simple daily task, sweeping the monastery grounds. At first, Sivali was puzzled. Was this not beneath a prince? But the Buddha explained, Sweeping is not just for the dust on the ground, but for the dust in the mind. Each stroke of the broom is an opportunity to return to now. Savali took up a broom and began to sweep. At first, his mind wandered. He thought of his royal duties, his family, his future. But the Buddha's words echoed in his memory. Notice the sensation of the broom in your hand, the sound of bristles on stone, the play of sunlight on the path. When your mind drifts, gently bring it back, again and again. As the days passed, Savali found himself growing calmer. The simple act of sweeping became a meditation. He noticed the intricate patterns of fallen leaves, the coolness of the morning air, the rhythm of his own breath. The more he returned to the present, the less power his worries held over him. One day, as he swept, a sudden wind scattered the leaves he had just gathered. Frustration flared in his chest. But then he remembered the Buddhist teaching. Just as the wind scatters leaves, so do distractions scatter the mind. Do not become angry. Simply begin again. Savali smiled and swept anew, feeling a quiet joy rise within him. The Buddha later explained to the assembled monks, "Mindfulness is the path to the deathless. The attentive mind is the source of all happiness. Whether you are a prince or a pauper, your true kingdom is the present moment." He taught the practice of anapanasati, mindfulness of breathing. Sit quietly, he instructed, and focus on the breath. Notice each inhalation and exhalation, the rise and fall of the abdomen. When thoughts arise, do not chase them. Return to the breath as a bird returns to its nest. Savali embraced this practice. Each morning, before the palace awoke, he sat in stillness, following his breath. He discovered that peace was not something to be found in the world, but something to be cultivated within. He became known not for his royal lineage, but for his calm presence and wise counsel. The Buddhist teachings on mindfulness transformed Savali's life, and they can transform.
Part 6. Conflict is a storm that begins with a single spark, a misunderstood word, a careless remark, a lie told in fear. In the ancient city of Kosambi, such a storm tore through the Sangha, dividing monks into factions, their voices sharpened by resentment. Yet, from this chaos, the Buddha revealed a truth as timeless as it is urgent. Words are not merely sounds, but seeds. Planted with care, they grow into forests of harmony. Scattered recklessly, they become wildfires. The dispute began innocently enough. Two monks quarreled over a minor monastic rule, whether to store drinking water in a vessel with insects. One insisted on strict adherence, the other argued for compassion. Their debate spiraled into insults, then factions, until the entire Sangha split. Monks who had once meditated side by side now refused to share meals or teachings. The Buddha intervened, urging reconciliation, but pride hardened their hearts. If even the Sangha cannot find peace, he lamented, what hope is there for the world? He retreated to the solitude of Paralayaka forest, where elephants and monkeys became his companions. Yet his absence spoke louder than any sermon. The monks, shaken by his departure, began to reflect. How had their words, meant to uphold Dharma, become weapons? The alchemy of right speech. The Buddhist teachings on right speech, samavacha, are not rules but revelations of cause and effect. As the suttas explain, speech becomes right when it is truthful, sakka, free from deception or exaggeration; harmonious, avisamvada, avoiding gossip or divisiveness; gentle, paru, rejecting harshness, cynicism, or cruelty; purposeful, attasamhita, mindful of timing and benefit. In Kosambi, the monks had forgotten this. Their debate, though rooted in doctrine, lacked metta, loving-kindness, and karuna, compassion. The Buddha later taught them, a truth spoken without kindness is a hammer.
A lie spoken with compassion is still a thorn. Only when truth and love unite does speech become healing. The Brahmin and the Mirror. A story from the Kakachupama Sutta illustrates this. A Brahmin named Akosaka, enraged by the Buddha's growing influence, stormed into Jetavana Monastery, hurling insults. The Buddha listened silently, then asked, "If a guest brings you a gift and you refuse it, to whom does the gift belong?" "To the guest," the Brahmin snapped. "Then I return your words," the Brahmin replied. "They are yours to keep." Akosaka, disarmed by this calm, fell to his knees. The Buddha continued, "Anger is a mirror. When you shout at others, you see only your own reflection. Speak instead with mudita, sympathetic joy, and the world becomes a garden." The 6 principles of harmony. To heal the Sangha, the Buddha taught the 6 principles of harmony. Shared space, living together physically and spiritually. Shared resources, generosity without hoarding. Example, monks leaving food for latecomers. Shared precepts, ethical alignment as a foundation. Harmonious speech, words that unite, not divide. Shared insights, collective wisdom over ego. Respect for views, honoring differences without conflict. A Sangha that follows these, he declared, is like a lute whose strings, though varied in length, create a single melody. Practical steps for right speech. The pause. Before speaking, ask, is it true? Is it kind? Is it necessary? Reflective listening. When conflict arises, paraphrase the other's words. What I hear you saying is, this diffuses tension and fosters understanding. Chanting for clarity. Recite the Karaniya Metta Sutta at dawn, embedding its message of universal love into daily speech. The King and the Unwinnable War. The Buddha's wisdom even averted wars. When King Ajatasattu sought to conquer the Vajjayans, the Buddha advised his minister, "A nation thrives not by arms, but by harmony. Do they meet in unity, honor elders, protect the vulnerable, respect nature? If so, no army can defeat them." The king, heeding this, abandoned his campaign. Bedtime practice, the mirror of words. As night falls, sit quietly and reflect. What words did I plant today? Did they nourish or scorch? Where did I grasp being right over being kind? Visualize unsaid words as lotus buds in your throat. Part 7. Every human heart holds the potential for both darkness and light. Sometimes the shadows within us grow so deep that we lose sight of our true nature. Yet the Buddha taught that no one is beyond redemption and that every step, no matter how far we have wandered, can be turned toward the path of awakening. The story of Angulimala is perhaps the most powerful testament to the transformative power of right action and to the boundless compassion at the heart of the Buddhist teachings. In the forests near Savatthi, villagers spoke in hushed tones of a terror that haunted the roads. Angulimala, the garland of fingers, was once a promising student named Ahimsaka, gentle and eager to learn. But jealousy and deceit poisoned his teacher's mind, and in a moment of darkness, the teacher whispered a lie that would change Ahimsaka's fate forever. If you wish to attain true wisdom, you must kill 1,000 people and bring me their fingers as proof. Ahimsaka, tormented by the thought of losing his teacher's favor, was swept away by madness. He became Angulimala, the most feared bandit in the land, stringing the fingers of his victims into a grisly necklace. The villagers lived in constant fear, and the king himself sent soldiers to capture the murderer. But Angulimala was cunning, swift, and relentless. His heart hardened by guilt and rage, his hands stained with blood. One day, as Angulimala waited by the roadside for his next victim, he saw a lone figure walking calmly through the forest. It was the Buddha, his presence serene, his steps unhurried.
Angulimala was astonished. No one had ever dared approach him so fearlessly. He leaped from the shadows, brandishing his sword, and shouted, "Stop, monk!" But the Buddha continued walking, his gaze steady and compassionate. Angulimala shouted again, "Stop!" The Buddha finally stopped and spoke in a voice as gentle as a breeze. "I have stopped, Angulimala. It is you who have not stopped." The words struck Angulimala like thunder. "What do you mean, monk? I am standing still, but you say I have not stopped?" The Buddha replied, "I have stopped harming all living beings. But you, Angulimala, have not stopped your violence. You are still caught in the cycle of suffering and destruction." For the first time, the fog of rage lifted from Angulimala's mind. He saw the suffering he had caused, the endless chain of pain that bound him to his victims. He fell to his knees, weeping, and begged the Buddha for forgiveness. "Is there hope for someone like me?" he pleaded. The Buddha's eyes shone with compassion. "No one is beyond redemption, Angulimala. The path of right action begins with a single step. Abandon harm, embrace kindness, and you will find peace." Angulimala threw away his sword and followed the Buddha back to the monastery. The villagers, seeing their tormentor in the robes of a monk, were furious. They hurled stones and curses, but Angulimala bore it all with humility, never raising his hand in anger. He spent his days in meditation, seeking to purify his mind and atone for his past. Over time, Angulimala's transformation became legendary. He tended to the sick, comforted the grieving, and protected travelers on the very roads he once terrorized. His presence became a symbol of hope, that even the darkest heart can be illuminated by the light of wisdom and compassion. The Buddha often spoke of Angulimala's journey as the embodiment of right action, one of the pillars of the Noble Eightfold Path. Right action is not just refraining from harm. It is the conscious choice to do good, to heal rather than hurt, to build rather than destroy. It is the daily practice of honesty, generosity, and respect for all living beings. For those who struggle with guilt or regret, Angulimala's story is a beacon. The Buddha taught that our past does not define us. What matters is the intention and effort we bring to each new moment. Through mindfulness and compassion, we can break the chains of karma and begin anew. Tonight, as you prepare for rest, reflect on the actions of your day. Ask yourself, did I act with kindness? Did I avoid causing harm? Did I take the opportunity to help someone in need? If not, forgive yourself and resolve to do better tomorrow. The path to awakening is not a straight line, but a journey of countless small. In a world where profit often overshadows purpose, the pursuit of wealth can become a prison of endless craving. Yet the Buddha taught that true abundance lies not in accumulation, but in generosity, a lesson a merchant named Vimala learned through bitter loss and profound awakening. His journey, set in the bustling trade city of Rajagaha, illuminates the transformative power of right livelihood, the fifth pillar of the Noble Eightfold Path. Vimala was a master of commerce, his warehouses stocked with spices, silks, and rare herbs. But his success hid a shadow. He diluted medicines to boost profits, hoarded grain during famines to inflate prices, and loaned money at crippling interest. Wealth flowed, yet his heart grew heavy, his nights haunted by the cries of those he'd ruined. One monsoon season, disaster struck. Floods destroyed Vimala's warehouses, leaving him destitute. As he wandered the muddy streets, he passed a monk offering alms to the sick. "Why help others when you have nothing?" Vimala asked bitterly. The monk, once a wealthy banker named Gosaka, replied, "I lost my gold but found my soul." The Buddha teaches that right livelihood is the bridge between worldly duty and spiritual freedom. Intrigued, Vimala followed Gosaka to the Buddha, who was teaching farmers under a banyan tree. A life built on harm is like a fire fed by poison. It consumes the one who kindles it, the Buddha said, his gaze meeting Vimala's. Right livelihood avoids 5 trades: weapons, flesh, beings, poisons, and intoxicants. But beyond avoidance, it creates, nourishing communities, healing divisions, and honoring the earth. The Buddha shared the parable of the 2 merchants. A greedy trader crossed deserts to sell jewels, only to die of thirst, his wealth scattering in the wind. A compassionate trader shared his water, befriending nomads who guided him to oases unknown to others. Both sought treasure, only one found it. Vimala knelt, tears mingling with rain. How can I rebuild without repeating my mistakes? Begin with dana, generosity, the Buddha urged. Feed the hungry, heal the sick, and trade with integrity. Wealth, when rooted in ethics, becomes a river that quenches many thirsts. The 4 pillars of right livelihood. Non-harm. Avoid trades exploiting humans, animals, or nature. Integrity. Reject deceit, honor fair weights, honest prices, and pure goods. Community. Prioritize needs over greed, share surplus. Mindfulness. See work as sacred, each act a thread in life's interconnected web. Vimala returned to Rajagaha, opened a free clinic, and sold unadulterated medicines at cost. When critics mocked his naivety, he quoted the Vyagapajaja Sutta. The wise earn wealth like bees gathering nectar without harming the flower. Slowly, trust bloomed. Farmers bartered fresh produce for his remedies. Orphans found shelter in his storerooms. Years later, a drought struck. This time, Vimala's granaries, filled through fair trade, fed the city. The king, amazed, gifted him land for a hospital. "Your wealth multiplies, yet you own nothing," the king remarked. Vimala smiled. True wealth is measured by hands held, not gold hoarded. Modern applications. The Buddha's ancient wisdom resonates today. Ethical consumption. Support sustainable brands, boycott exploitative industries. Mindful earning. Ask, does my work alleviate suffering or add to it? Generous living. Dedicate a portion of income to charity, time to service. Bedtime practice. The alchemy of work. Reflect on your day. Did my choices today harm or heal? Where can I replace greed with generosity? Visualize your workplace as a garden. With each breath, whisper, "May my labor bear fruits for all beings." Dear seekers of ethical abundance, if Vimala's transformation inspires you, support our Motivational Buddha Story channel with a like and subscribe. Together, let's redefine success, building economies of compassion in a world hungry for meaning. In Part 9, we'll explore right effort through the tale of a weary farmer who discovered strength in surrender. Until then, may your work be a prayer and your wealth a testament to the Buddha's timeless truth. The greatest gift is the gift of virtue. 9. The sun hung low over the fields of Magadha, its scorching rays baking the cracked earth. A farmer named Rajiv wiped the sweat from his brow, his hands trembling with exhaustion. For years, he had labored from dawn till dusk, plowing, planting, and praying for rain. Yet each season, his harvests dwindled, his body grew weaker, and his mind teetered on despair. "I must work harder," he muttered, driving his oxen onward even as his vision blurred. But the seeds he sowed rotted in the parched soil, and the well of his spirit ran dry. One evening, as Rajiv collapsed under a withered neem tree, an old monk approached, his robes dusty but his eyes radiant with calm. "Friend," the monk said, "why do you push your oxen to collapse and your body to ruin?" Rajiv glared. "What choice do I have? If I stop, my family starves." The monk sat beside him, offering a water gourd. The Buddha teaches that effort without wisdom is like a man digging for water in a desert. He exhausts himself long before he reaches the spring. Rajiv scoffed. Then what should I do? Abandon my fields? No, the monk replied. Abandon the delusion that effort alone brings success. True strength lies not in strain, but in balance. The fourfold practice of right effort. The Buddha's teaching on right effort, samma vayama, is not about relentless toil, but the art of wise perseverance. Prevent harmful states. Guard the mind against envy, greed, and anger before they arise. Overcome existing harm. Uproot negative thoughts like weeds choking a garden. Cultivate the good. Plant seeds of kindness, patience, and clarity. Nurture the growing. Sustain these virtues until they bloom naturally. To illustrate, the monk shared the parable of the lute. A musician once asked the Buddha, "How do I attain enlightenment?" The Buddha plucked a lute string. If too tight, it snaps. If too loose, it drones. Only when tuned just so does it sing. So too must your effort be balanced, neither forceful nor lax. Rajiv's shoulders sagged. But how do I balance effort when survival is at stake? The monk pointed to the sky. When the monsoon comes, does the farmer fight the rain? No. He prepares the soil, sows seeds, and trusts. Right effort is preparation and patience, not control. The farmer's transformation. Rajiv began to rise with the sun but rested at noon, saving his strength. He repaired irrigation channels, planted drought-resistant millet, and traded surplus tools for seed. Most importantly, he practiced mindfulness. While plowing, he focused on the oxen's rhythm. While sowing, he recited, "May this work nourish many." When neighbors mocked his laziness, Rajiv recalled the Buddha's words, "Better than 1,000 hollow deeds is one act done with awakened mind." By harvest, Rajiv's fields flourished, not from force, but from harmony with Earth's cycles. His family thrived, and his example inspired the village to share resources rather than hoard them. A practice for modern lives. The Buddha's lesson transcends time. In an age of burnout, right effort asks, at work, are you racing towards deadlines or prioritizing purposeful tasks? In relationships, are you clinging to conflict or nurturing understanding? Within yourself, are you grinding against limits or cultivating self-compassion? Tonight's bedtime ritual. Sit comfortably and close your eyes. Place a hand on your heart, whispering, "I release what depletes me." Place a hand on your abdomen, whispering, "I welcome what sustains me." Visualize your day as a river. Notice where you pushed against the current or flowed with grace. The liberating truth. Rajiv's story echoes the Chanki Sutta. When a farmer tills with care, plants timely seeds, and tends without obsession, the harvest comes unbidden. Surrender is not passivity, but alignment with life's natural flow. Dear seekers of balance, if Rajiv's journey speaks to you, support our motivational Buddha Story channel with a like and subscribe. Together, let's replace exhaustion with wise effort, building lives of depth and resilience. In Part 10, we'll explore right mindfulness through the tale of a grieving mother who found peace in the present moment. Until then, may your efforts be gentle, your rest deep, and your heart attuned to life's quiet wisdom.
Grief has a way of freezing time. It pins us to the past, making the present feel like an empty room, and the future a distant mirage. Yet the Buddha taught that liberation lies not in escaping pain, but in meeting it with unwavering presence. The story of Kisa Gautami, a mother shattered by loss, reveals how right mindfulness, the seventh pillar of the Noble Eightfold Path, can transform sorrow into a gateway for awakening. Kisa Gautami's only child, a vibrant boy of 1 year, fell ill and died suddenly. Mad with grief, she refused to accept his death, clutching his lifeless body as she begged villagers for a cure. "He's only sleeping," she insisted, her tears mingling with rain. When mocked for her delusion, she stumbled to the Buddha, pleading, "Bring him back." The Buddha, sensing her readiness to learn, said, "Bring me a mustard seed from a home untouched by death." Kisa hurried through the village, door after door, but each family recounted losses: a parent, a spouse, a child. By dusk, her arms empty, she returned to the Buddha, her face streaked with tears of realization. "Death comes to all," she whispered. "Now teach me how to live with this truth." The four foundations of mindfulness. The Buddha guided her through satipatthana, mindfulness of body, feelings, mind, and phenomena. Body. She washed her son's body for burial, noticing the coldness of his skin, the stiffness of his limbs, observing decay without turning away. Feelings. She sat with her anguish, neither suppressing it nor drowning in it, whispering, "This is grief. It arises, it changes, it passes." Mind. She watched thoughts cycle. "If only I'd called the healer sooner," labeling them regret or fear, loosening their grip. Phenomena. She contemplated impermanence in falling leaves and setting suns, seeing her son's life as part of nature's rhythm. Suffering arises from resisting what is, the Buddha taught. Mindfulness is the light that dissolves the darkness of denial. Modern echoes of Kisa's journey. In Vietnam, Thich Nhat Hanh reframed grief as a practice of no birth, no death, a recognition that energy transforms but never vanishes. When we lose a loved one, their laughter lingers in shared memories. Their kindness ripples through our actions. Mindfulness helps us perceive this continuity, softening the sharp edges of loss. Practices for honoring grief. Breathing through tears. Sit comfortably, hand on heart. Inhale, "I acknowledge this pain." Exhale, "I hold it with compassion." Nature meditation. Walk barefoot on grass, noting how blades bend but rebound, a metaphor for resilience. Letter to the departed. Write, "Thank you for, I release you to." Burn or bury it, visualizing attachments dissolving. The alchemy of presence. Kisa Gautami became a nun, renowned for her wisdom. When disciples asked how she found peace, she replied, "I stopped fighting the tide. Now I float." Her story mirrors Jack Kornfield's teaching. Grief is not a problem to solve, but a sacred space to inhabit. Dear seekers of presence, if Kisa's journey illuminates your path, support our motivational Buddha Story channel with a like and subscribe. Together, we learn to hold life's fragility with grace. In Part 11, we'll explore right concentration through the tale of a restless king who discovered stillness in the eye of the storm. Until then, may your mindfulness be a lantern in the dark, guiding you gently back to the peace of now. The wave does not die when it crashes on the shore. It becomes the ocean. Thich Nhat Hanh.
The human mind is a storm. Thoughts swirl like tempests, regrets of the past, anxieties of the future, desires that claw like thunder. Yet within this chaos, the Buddha taught that there exists an eye of stillness, a refuge unshaken by life's howling winds. This refuge is right concentration, samma samadhi, the culmination of the Noble Eightfold Path, where the mind merges with the present like a river merging with the sea. The story of King Ajatasattu, a ruler haunted by guilt and paranoia, reveals how even the most turbulent heart can find peace through the disciplined focus of right concentration. King Ajatasattu, as you may recall, had ordered the death of his father, the virtuous King Bimbisara. Tormented by remorse, his nights became a hell of insomnia and hallucinations. "Every time I close my eyes," he confided to his physician Jivaka, "I see flames consuming me and hear the screams of those I've wronged." Desperate, he sought the Buddha at Jivaka's urging, traveling under cover of night to Jetavana Monastery, where the Buddha sat amidst 1,250 monks in perfect silence. The king, trembling, confessed his crimes.
"Can someone like me ever find peace?" he begged. The Buddha, instead of condemning him, guided his attention to the flickering oil lamps in the hall. "Just as these flames remain steady despite the wind," he said, "so too can the mind, through right concentration, become unwavering amidst life's storms." The 4 jhanas, stages of right concentration. The Buddha detailed the 4 jhanas, meditative states that refine the mind's focus and dissolve the illusion of separateness. First jhana. Detached from sensual desires and unwholesome thoughts, the mind enters a state of applied and sustained attention, accompanied by rapture, piti, and joy born of detachment. Second jhana. As mental chatter fades, inner stillness arises. Joy and pleasure remain, but without active thought. A serene absorption likened to a mountain lake undisturbed by wind. Third jhana. Even joy dissolves, leaving equanimity, upekkha, and mindful awareness. The body feels buoyant, as if floating in pure clarity. Fourth jhana. Beyond pleasure and pain, the mind rests in pure equanimity and mindfulness, a stillness so profound it reveals the transient nature of all phenomena. Concentration is not escape, the Buddha explained, but a mirror to see reality as it is. Through it, you'll understand that the flames you fear are but reflections of your own clinging. The king's transformation. Ajatasattu practiced daily, focusing on the breath. Initially, his mind recoiled. Memories of his father's face, the weight of his crown, the jeers of his enemies. But gradually, the jhanas taught him to observe these thoughts as passing clouds. In the 4th jhana, he experienced a profound insight. The I that suffers is as fleeting as a shadow. True peace lies beyond ownership of past deeds. Though Ajatasattu did not attain full enlightenment in his lifetime, his torment eased. He became a patron of the Sangha, building monasteries and supporting the spread of the Dharma. His story, immortalized in the Samanyapala Sutta, stands as a testament to the Buddha's boundless compassion and to the power of concentration to heal even the deepest wounds. Right concentration in modern life. The jhanas are not relics of the past. Modern practitioners, from Thai forest monks to lay meditators, use these stages to cultivate mental resilience. Key principles include anchoring the mind. Use the breath, a mantra, or a visualized image as a focal point to stabilize attention. Balancing effort and ease. Avoid straining, like an over-tightened lute string, or lapsing into dullness. The Buddha's parable of the lute from Part 9 reminds us that concentration thrives in equilibrium. Integrating mindfulness. Observe sensations, emotions, and thoughts without attachment, using the 4 foundations of mindfulness, body, feelings, mind, phenomena, as a scaffold. Bedtime practice. The lamp meditation. Light a candle or visualize a steady flame. Gaze softly at the light, breathing deeply. With each exhale, release a worry or regret. With each inhale, draw.
In the shadow of the Himalayas, a young ascetic named Nanda knelt on a bed of jagged stones, his body gaunt from years of fasting and exposure to the elements. He believed pain was the price of enlightenment, that the gods would only heed those who shattered their bodies to free their souls. But as the seasons turned, his resolve wavered. His mind, once sharp with devotion, grew clouded by doubt. "Is this suffering truly the path to liberation?" he whispered to the stars. It was here, at the brink of collapse, that the Buddha's teachings on the middle way would illuminate a truth as vast as the sky. Awakening is not born of extremes, but of balance. The Buddha's awakening, a revolution against extremes. The Buddha's own journey mirrors Nanda. Born into luxury, he later embraced severe asceticism, starving himself until his ribs protruded like the bars of a cage. Yet neither indulgence nor self-mortification brought peace. His breakthrough came not through suffering, but through a simple meal of rice and milk offered by a village girl named Sujata. Restored in body, he sat beneath the Bodhi tree, vowing to meditate until he uncovered the root of human suffering. What he discovered was the middle way, a path of equipoise that rejects both sensual greed and self-destructive austerity. The parable of the lute. To Nanda, the Buddha shared a story. A musician once asked, "How tight should the strings be?" The Buddha plucked a lute. Too tight, they snap. Too loose, they drone. Only when tuned just so do they sing. Nanda's eyes widened. "You mean my practices are too tight?" The Buddha nodded. Extremes imprison the mind. The middle way is not a compromise, but liberation from all dualities, even the duality of right and wrong. The Madhyamaka Revolution. Centuries later, the philosopher Nagarjuna would expand this teaching, declaring that all phenomena are empty, shunyata, of inherent existence. To cling to any extreme, existence versus non-existence, self versus other, is to miss the fluid, interdependent nature of reality. The middle way, Nagarjuna argued, is the razor's edge between all opposites, a space of pure potential where wisdom arises. Modern echoes of the middle path. In a world polarized by excess and burnout, the middle way offers refuge. Work-life balance. Like the Buddha's lute, neither relentless hustle nor passive idleness brings fulfillment. Mindful consumption. Reject both hedonism and rigid purity. Eat, work, and love with intention, not obsession. Emotional equanimity. Avoid the traps of toxic positivity or nihilistic despair. Suffering and joy are fleeting, neither define us. Nanda's transformation. Guided by the Buddha, Nanda abandoned his bed of stones. He bathed in rivers, ate nourishing food, and meditated under the open sky. Slowly, his mind cleared. One morning, as he watched a leaf flutter to the ground, he realized, the leaf does not cling to the tree nor fear the earth. It simply is. In that moment, Nanda understood the middle way, not as a philosophy, but a state of being, unshackled from extremes, rooted in the present. Bedtime practice, the balance meditation. Sit comfortably, hands resting on your knees. Visualize a scale, one side holding your efforts, the other your rest. Breathe into any tension, whispering, "I release the need to force or flee." Chant silently, "Anicca, anicca." Impermanence, all extremes dissolve. Dear seekers of balance, if Nanda's journey resonates, support our Motivational Buddha Story channel with a like and subscribe. Together, let's walk the middle way, transforming strife into serenity. In Part 13, we'll explore the Four Noble Truths through the story of a warrior queen who traded her sword for the Dharma, discovering that true victory lies in understanding suffering. Until then, may your heart find its rhythm, neither strained nor slack, but perfectly attuned to the song of now. The middle way is not a path to walk, but a truth to realize. You are already free. In the kingdom of Kosala, where the clang of swords once echoed through battlefields, there lived a warrior queen named Srimala. Her name meant garlanded with valor, and for years she wore that title with pride, her armor glinting like the sun, her victories celebrated in songs across the land. Yet beneath her crown, a quiet despair festered. Each battle won left her emptier, each conquered foe a mirror reflecting her own unrest. "Is this all there is?" she whispered one night, staring at the blood-stained horizon. "Victory after victory, yet no peace?" Her story, immortalized in the Queen Srimala Sutra, unveils the heart of the Buddha's Four Noble Truths, a revelation that would transform her sword into a lotus and her throne into a seat of awakening. The first noble truth, dukkha, suffering. Srimala's breaking point came not in war, but in stillness. After a skirmish, she wandered a ravaged village where a mother cradled her dead child, wailing, "Why do we suffer so?" The queen's heart froze. For the first time, she saw the cost of her conquests: orphans with hollow eyes, fields salted by rage, a kingdom thriving on the illusion of control. That night, she dreamt of her own childhood, a girl taught to equate strength with domination, yet never shown how to heal. The Buddha's words echoed in her mind. Birth is suffering, aging is suffering, death is suffering. In brief, the five aggregates subject to clinging are suffering. She realized her battles were not against external enemies, but against the dukkha woven into existence itself, the ache of impermanence, the futility of clinging to power, the hollowness of a life unexamined. The second noble truth, samudaya, origin of suffering. Guided by a monk, Srimala retreated to a forest hermitage. There, she confronted the tanha that had driven her, the craving for glory, the addiction to control, the fear of weakness. "I thought my sword protected my people," she confessed, "but it only fed my own hunger to be seen as invincible." The Buddha's parable of the two arrows struck her deeply. The first arrow is physical pain. The second, the mental torment of resisting that pain, is our own creation. Srimala saw how her refusal to acknowledge vulnerability had compounded her suffering. Her wars were a desperate dance to outrun the truth. All things change. All empires fall. The third noble truth, nirodha, cessation of suffering. One dawn, as mist curled over the hermitage, Srimala sat beneath a sal tree, her sword laid at her feet. The monk handed her a scroll of the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, the Buddha's first sermon. As she read, tears blurred the ink. There is an end to suffering, the remainderless fading away of craving. In that moment, she glimpsed nirvana, not a distant heaven, but the freedom of letting go. She vowed, "From this day, I will fight not with blades, but with compassion. My kingdom will be a refuge, not a fortress." The fourth noble truth, marga. Srimala returned to her throne, but as a different ruler. She abolished punitive taxes, opened the royal granaries to the hungry, and replaced soldiers with healers. When advisors warned of rebellion, she smiled. A heart grounded in the eightfold path cannot be shaken. She embodied each step. Right view, seeing greed and hatred as the true enemies. Right intention, vowing to protect all beings, not just her subjects. Right speech, declaring amnesty for past foes, her words disarming decades of hatred. Right action, transforming armories into hospitals. Right livelihood, funding trade in medicines, not weapons. Right effort, meditating daily, even amidst court duties. Right mindfulness, noticing the rise of pride, gently letting it dissolve. Right concentration, leading councils with the focus of a monk in jhana. The warrior's legacy. Years later, as Srimala lay dying, her people gathered, fearing chaos. But she whispered, "Do not mourn. The Dharma is your queen now." Her final breath was a testament to the four truths: suffering acknowledged, craving released, peace realized, the path walked to its end. Bedtime practice, the four truths reflection. Acknowledge suffering. Write one burden on a leaf. Whisper, "This is dukkha." Trace its cause. Ask, "What craving binds me here?" Burn the leaf, visualizing attachment dissolving. Embrace cessation. Place a hand on your heart. Peace is possible. Walk the path. Resolve to perform one act of kindness tomorrow, a step on the eightfold path. Dear seekers of truth,
The Weaver's Daughter and the Thread of Karma. In the quiet village of Alavi, where looms hummed like cicadas and threads wove the fabric of daily life,
A young weaver's daughter balanced spools of silk with the weight of an unspoken longing. Her hands moved deftly, yet her heart yearned for something beyond the clatter of shuttles and the monotony of routine. Her story, immortalized in the Dhammapada, unravels the Buddha's profound teachings on karma and rebirth, a tapestry where every action stitches the pattern of future lives, yet no eternal self holds the needle. The loom of duty and desire. Each dawn, the girl wound threads for her father's loom, her mind drifting to whispers of the Buddha's teachings. One morning, as villagers gathered to hear the Enlightened One, her father tasked her with urgent work. Torn between duty and devotion, she vowed, "I will finish this, then go to the Buddha." Yet fate, like a snapped thread, had other plans. On her way to deliver the shuttle, she found herself at the edge of the crowd. The Buddha's gaze met hers, piercing through the noise of her doubts. He posed 4 cryptic questions. Where did you come from? Where are you going? Do you not know? Do you know? Her answers, I don't know, I know, I don't know, revealed a wisdom deeper than words. I cannot trace my past lives, nor foresee my next rebirth. I know only that clinging to this life is futile, for death comes like a thief. The shattered shuttle, a lesson in impermanence. As she hurried to her father's workshop, a tragic accident struck. Startled awake, her father jerked the loom, sending a shuttle into her chest. In her final breath, she glimpsed the truth the Buddha had awakened in her. Life is as fragile as a single thread. Reborn instantly into Sita heaven, she became a Sotapanna, a stream enterer freed from the abyss of lower rebirths. Her father, shattered by grief, sought solace in the Buddha's teachings. Your daughter's death was not an end, the Buddha assured him, but a transition. Her mindfulness of impermanence purified her karma, guiding her to celestial realms. Moved by this truth, the weaver renounced his trade, ordained as a monk, and eventually attained arahantship, liberation from the cycle of rebirth. Karma without a self, the Buddha's radical insight. The weaver's tale illustrates the core of Buddhist rebirth. No eternal soul. Unlike Hindu notions of Atman, an unchanging self, Buddhism teaches anatta, no self. Rebirth is a stream of consciousness, not a soul's journey. Like a flame passed candle to candle, continuity exists, but no inherent essence persists. Karma as intention. The Buddha revolutionized karma, declaring intention is karma. The weaver's daughter's yearning for Dharma and her father's subsequent transformation were seeds planted by Chaitanya, volition, ripening across lifetimes. Dependent origination. Each moment arises from causes. Her death, though sudden, was not random. It echoed past karmic patterns. Yet her mindfulness at death's door altered its trajectory. The modern loom, weaving wisdom into life. The Buddha's questions to the girl remain a mirror for us all. Where are you going? What future are your actions weaving? Do you know? Are you awake to life's impermanence or lost in illusion? Tonight's practice. Sit with a spool of thread or visualize one. Reflect. This thread is my life, finite, yet connected to countless others. Whisper. May my actions today weave compassion, not chaos. Dear seekers of truth, if the weaver's daughter's journey illuminates your path, support our Motivational Buddha Story channel with a like and subscribe. Together, let's unravel the knots of ignorance, stitching a tapestry of awakening. In Part 15, our final chapter, we'll culminate with complete mental relaxation, a synthesis of all teachings guiding you to dissolve stress, embrace impermanence, and rest in the boundless peace of nirvana.
Until then, may your thread of mindfulness remain unbroken, weaving grace into every moment. As the loom's shuttle flies, so does life. But the hands that weave hold the power to choose. Stitch with kindness and the cloth of karma.
Part 15. Complete mental relaxation through the Buddha's path. The modern world spins like a wheel of fire, demands, deadlines, and digital noise leaving hearts frayed and minds exhausted. Yet, in the eye of this storm, the Buddha's teachings offer an unshakable refuge, a peace not dependent on external conditions, but born from seeing clearly and letting go. This final chapter weaves together all we've explored, mindfulness, karma, compassion, and the middle way, into a tapestry of practices designed to dissolve stress, purify negative karma, and guide you to a stillness deeper than sleep. The alchemy of stillness. Imagine a mountain lake at dawn. No matter how fiercely the wind blows, its depths remain undisturbed. The Buddha taught that our true nature is like this lake, calm, luminous, and inherently free. Mental relaxation is not about escaping life's storms, but learning to rest in the awareness that holds them. Practice the lake meditation. Sit comfortably, eyes closed. Visualize a lake's surface, ripples representing thoughts, waves symbolizing emotions. Breathe into the phrase, "I am not the ripples, I am the lake." Feel the body soften, the mind expand. With each exhale, whisper, "All things arise and pass. I am the space where they move." This meditation, rooted in vipassana, insight practice, trains the mind to observe without clinging, transforming stress into clarity. Purifying karma, the four powers. Negative karma, the residue of harmful actions and thoughts, fuels mental turbulence. The Buddha taught four powers to purify it, as echoed in the Lama Yeshe Wisdom Archive. Reliance. Take refuge in the three jewels, Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, visualizing their light dissolving inner darkness. Regret. Acknowledge past harms without guilt. Whisper, "I see my mistakes. May they teach me compassion." Remedy. Chant mantras, e.g. Om Mani Padme Hum, or practice loving kindness to sow seeds of healing. Resolve. Vow to act with integrity, knowing every moment offers renewal. Story. The Repentant Hunter. A hunter, tormented by nightmares of slain animals, sought the Buddha. "How can I undo this karma?" The Buddha handed him a lotus. "Drop it in the river. Each petal represents a life harmed. Watch them float away and vow to never hunt again." The hunter did so, his heart lightening with each petal's release. The body as a temple of peace. Physical health and mental relaxation are inseparable. The Buddha's middle way teaches balance. Nourish the body without indulgence, rest without laziness, move without strain. Practice yoga of the elements. Earth. Stand tall, feet rooted. Breathe into stability. Water. Flow through gentle stretches, imagining joints as rivers. Fire. Dynamic movements, sun salutations, to ignite vitality. Air. Sit, observing the breath's rhythm. Space. Lie in savasana, dissolving into boundless awareness. This integrates Buddhist yoga, aligning body and mind. Loving kindness for the wounded self. Stress often stems from self-judgment. The Buddha's metta, loving kindness practice, rewires the brain for self-compassion. Guided meditation. May I be safe from inner and outer harm. May I be gentle with my imperfections. May I accept this moment exactly as it is. Extend these wishes to others, visualizing loved ones, strangers, and even adversaries bathed in golden light. A study from Recovery Dharma shows this reduces anxiety by 40% in 8 weeks. The ritual of letting go. Ancient Buddhists performed fire pujas,
Releasing attachments by burning symbolic offerings. Create your own ritual. Write a stressor on paper, e.g., fear of failure. Light a candle, reciting, "By the light of wisdom, I release you." Burn the paper, watching smoke carry the burden away. Chant, "Anika, Anika," impermanence. All is fleeting. Conclusion, the gift of presence. Mental relaxation is not a destination, but a way of being. Each breath, each step, each act of kindness is a thread weaving the fabric of peace. The Buddha's final words remind us, "Be lamps unto yourselves. Strive on with diligence." Final bedtime practice.
Entering deep rest with Buddhist wisdom. As our journey together draws to a close, let us gently transition from contemplation to deep relaxation, a sacred wind-down for body, mind, and spirit. This is your invitation to let go of the day, to allow the teachings of the Buddha to settle softly into your heart, and to prepare for a night of truly restorative sleep. Find a comfortable position, either lying down or seated, in a quiet space where you won't be disturbed. Allow your hands to rest gently, your eyes to close, and your breath to return to its natural rhythm. Notice the gentle rise and fall of your chest and abdomen, the coolness of air at your nostrils, and the subtle warmth as you exhale. There is nothing to control. Simply observe, allowing your breath to anchor you in this moment. As thoughts arise, memories of the day, plans for tomorrow, or stray worries, acknowledge them with kindness. Each time you notice your mind has wandered, gently guide your attention back to your breath. This returning is the practice, each repetition strengthening your mindfulness, just as a wild elephant is gradually tamed through gentle training. Now, let's move into a full-body relaxation, a practice cherished by both ancient Buddhists and modern teachers. Begin at your toes. With each out-breath, imagine the muscles of your feet and ankles switching off, releasing tension and softening into the support beneath you. Slowly scan upwards, your calves, knees, thighs, hips. Let each part relax, as if shutting down for the night. Continue this gentle scan through your abdomen and lower back, your chest and shoulders, arms and hands, neck and jaw, all the way to the crown of your head. If you notice any tension, imagine it melting like butter in the sun. With each breath out, let go a little more, feeling the weight of your body sinking into the bed or floor, fully supported, fully at ease. If you wish, you can gently tense and release each muscle group, as in progressive muscle relaxation. Clench your hands, hold for a few seconds, and release. Tighten your arms, then let go. Wrinkle your forehead, then smooth it out. With each release, silently say to yourself, "Let go," or "Relax," encouraging your body to trust that it is safe to rest. Bring your awareness back to your breath. Breathing in, know that you are breathing in. Breathing out, know that you are breathing out. Let the breath become deep, slow, calming, and easy. If a smile comes to your lips, let it be soft and natural, a gesture of kindness to yourself, relaxing the hundreds of muscles in your face. As you rest in this state, visualize a gentle light, perhaps the glow of a candle or the soft radiance of the Buddha, spreading warmth and comfort throughout your entire being. Imagine any lingering stress, regret, or negative karma dissolving with each exhale, replaced by peace, forgiveness, and compassion. If you wish, you may count backward from 1,000 or from 10, with each breath helping your mind to slow and settle. Or simply rest in silence, allowing the body and mind to drift, knowing there is nothing more to do, nowhere to go, and nothing to achieve tonight but deep rest. Let gratitude arise for this day, for your efforts, for the teachings that have illuminated your path. Whisper to yourself, "May I be safe. May I be peaceful. May I be at ease. May all beings everywhere share in the sense of calm and well-being." As you surrender to sleep, know that you are held by the wisdom of countless generations, by the compassion of the Buddha, and by the gentle rhythm of your own breath.
May your dreams be tranquil, your mind refreshed, and your heart open to the blessings of a new day. Thank you for joining Motivational Buddha Story. If this wind down has brought you peace, please like and subscribe to our channel and share this journey with others who seek rest and renewal. May you always find your way back to this sanctuary of stillness whenever you need it. Good night. May you be well. May you be free. May you be at peace.